Now we're going to extend our notion of center of mass into higher dimensions. So just as a reminder, in one dimension, the x-coordinate of the center of mass is given by a weighted average of the positions. So I take every position where a mass is located, and I give it more importance if the mass is bigger. I divide out by the total mass, and the units come out to units of position. And this can also be thought of as a balancing point for the system. Now, how do we extend this into two dimensions? What I've shown here is a two-dimensional distribution of mass. So they're just sort of randomly placed, and I give them a bunch of different sizes. And their positions are given by position vectors measured from a common origin. So how are we going to find the 2D position of the center of mass? It's exactly the same process. I take M1, R1, M2, R2, all the way to the nth particle. Then I divide by the sum of all the masses put together. I could write this in summation notation as the sum of all the mi, ri's, divided by the sum of all the masses, the mi's. Or more commonly, I would just say 1 over the total mass, capital M, summation mi times ri. So if all these masses were connected by some thin, rigid sheet, that's where you would stick your finger to balance the entire group. So rather than talking about this two-dimensional vector for the position of the center of mass in general, it's more useful to talk about it coordinate by coordinate. So I want to break it into x and y coordinates. I have the center of mass x coordinate times I hat plus the center of mass y coordinate times j hat. On the right hand side, I think I'll work in expanded form so that we're not confused by additional summation notation issues. I'm going to pull out the 1 over m in front, and I'm modifying this form of it right now. I would have m1 times r1, the position of mass number 1, and that's just going to be the x location times I hat plus that y location or coordinate times j hat, plus all the way down the line nth mass and the x-coordinate of the nth mass, I hat, plus the y-coordinate of the nth mass, j hat. So if I break this into two pieces where I collect all the coefficients of I hat and all the coefficients of j hat, I would have 1 over m multiplied by m1 x1 plus m2 x2 and so on, all the way to mn xn times I hat plus m1 y1 plus m2 y2 and so on, all the way to mn yn times j hat. And if I compare the left and right hand sides of this equation now, x center of mass, it's got to be equal to the coefficient of I hat on the right-hand side. I get that the center of mass x coordinate is going to be 1 over m times m1 x1 plus all the way down to mn xn. In other words, it's exactly the same as the 1D formula. And my y center of mass, it's going to be 1 over the total mass, m1 y1, plus all the way down the line to mn yn. And that's exactly the same formula, again, as the one-dimensional case. So, in other words, what we've discovered is if you want the center of mass of a two-dimensional system of particles, you just independently find their x center of mass and their y center of mass based on the x location and y location of all of those particles. Let's apply our new formula to a simple 2D distribution of mass. So I've put a 1 kilogram mass at the origin. I then put a 0.8 kilogram mass directly down the x-axis, so it has no y-coordinate, and that's going to simplify our calculations. It's at the 50 centimeter mark. I could even emphasize that's an x value. And then I have a third mass at y equals 40 centimeters, and it has no x-coordinates. X-coordinate is 0, and that's half a kilogram. So I'm going to get the center of mass x-coordinate by taking 1 over the total mass. And I have 3 masses here, so maybe I'll talk about it symbolically first. m1x1 plus m2x2 plus m3x3. And I plug in the total mass. The total mass here is 2.3 kilograms. And then each one of these x-coordinates gets weighted by how much mass is there. That's going to move the center of mass closer to the bigger masses. I suppose I'll call this 1, 2, and 3 just for clarity. So M1 is 1 kilogram, but its x-coordinate is 0. M2 is 0.8 kilograms. Its x-coordinate is 50 centimeters. And M3 is 0.5 kilograms, but its x-coordinate is also 0. So both those terms vanish. And I get 1 over 2.3 times 0.8 times 50, and I just crunch those numbers real quick, and I get 17.4 centimeters for the x center of mass coordinate. Now this is like 25 right here, so half of that's here, 17 somewhere in between those, so I'm just going to put it right here and say my x center of mass coordinate is there, so the center of mass must lie along this dotted line somewhere. Now my y center of mass, 1 over the total mass, m1y1 plus m2y2 plus m3y3. And again, my total mass is 2.3. M1 is 1 kilogram, but it has a y-coordinate of 0. M2 is 0.8 kilograms. It also has a y-coordinate of 0. M3 is 0.5 kilograms, and its y-coordinate is 40 centimeters. I crunch all the numbers in my calculator. 0.5 times 40 over 2.3, and I get a y center of mass coordinate of 8.7 centimeters. So this is about 20 right here. That means this is about 10. So 8.7 is somewhere around here. And I can mark the spot where this system would balance. If all these masses were connected by a rigid sheet, you could put the tip of a pencil under that, and the whole thing would balance on its side right at that point.